ready.
Welcome to another episode of Buff in the Rough. Today we'll hear from Josh Robinson about the Carolina Coyote Classic, taking a polygraph after the hunt, police encounters, and a lot more. Help me welcome Josh to the program. Well, hey Josh, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I'm really excited to talk to somebody that is an official coyote hunter because coyotes affect every other kind of hunting around here. And I can't imagine it doesn't affect hunting all over the nation from small game to deer hunters to farmers to you name it. Coyotes have certainly had a big impact on many of our favorite sports. But for folks that maybe don't know who Josh Robinson is, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe how you got into coyote hunting?
Yes, I'm a petroleum engineer is what I do for a living. I've been in coyote hunting for, I couldn't even tell you how many years now. I dabbled in it when I was about 16 years old. I'm now 33, getting ready to be 34. I started out as a rabbit hunter, and that's actually what turned me into a coyote hunter. I had a pack of dogs, and we were actually on a rabbit hunt in Sparta, North Carolina, on a Christmas tree farm I had, and actually had a pack of coyotes get after my beagles. They was running a rabbit, and about that time we had about 22 dogs. And next thing we know, we heard the dogs go to squalling and screaming, something like we've never experienced before. And about that time, there was 5 coyotes that come out after the dogs, trying to catch them. And it wasn't long after that, I really started getting into coyote hunting. I really something struck in me, and I was like, man, I've never heard of. At the time, I didn't know of anybody that was a predator hunter. Mm-hmm. And I guess 3 years went by after the fact of that, and I ended up selling all my beagles off, and I picked up a rifle and I started taking it serious. And that's pretty much how I got started. Like I said, I was a rabbit hunter to begin with. That was my passion. That was my drive. And then after that day, I was like, man, I'm gonna start killing these coyotes for people. And that's kind of where it's been ever since. And that's my passion. That's my drive. That's my hobby. I do it 3-4 nights a week sometimes.
That is a heck of a story. I've never heard of that in my life, but that is a terrific story. I don't blame you. I'd want to get involved in coyote hunting too. So who helped you? I mean, if you didn't know anything about coyote hunting, I mean, how did you learn?
I knew nobody. I knew nothing about it. Like I said, I didn't even know that anybody coyote hunt was a thing. There was nothing on it really out there at the time when I took it up. It was 2 years after me being into it, I met a man that had found out that he was a coyote hunter, and then not long after that, my dad had a guy that worked for him, and he said, hey, why don't you get up with this guy? His name's Robert Maxwell. He said he likes to coyote hunt. I kind of looked him up on social media, and I was kind of hesitant, just at the time I didn't know anything about, I was still learning myself. Being at that time, I was probably 2 years in, and I didn't feel comfortable, so I kept putting it off. Finally, me and him ended up, my dad kept getting on to me about it, saying, hey, why don't you get up with him and start coyote hunting together? Why don't y'all go? He likes to go. He's pretty good at it. So finally, I broke down. I called him. I got his number. I called him up. I said, hey, I said, my dad says you like to coyote hunt. I said, I don't really know anybody else. I said, that coyote hunts. I said, there's one other fella that I know that he's been doing a little bit. And I said, we go every once in a while. So we've killed quite a few. And so we struck it off from there, and we started hunting together, and we hunted together religiously for quite a few years, and still going strong to this day. We still stay in touch and still coyote hunt together. He actually lives in Iron Station, is where he's from,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's been an ongoing thing now, and I love it. I mean, there's nothing else like it.
Well, one of the things that's interesting to me, and I really want to ask you about, is how do you find places to hunt? Because again, I was talking about it earlier. The coyotes have affected everything around here. There's no predator for them. There's nothing above them in the food chain except us, and so
exactly right.
there's nothing really to keep them in check. And so they just, in my opinion, from what I've seen firsthand, really have hurt. Again, small game, whitetail. I know farmers that have lost, I don't know how many calves, have been killed each year. People have lost pets. I hadn't heard about anybody's beagles being attacked, but I certainly have coon dogs, and I think about those coon hounds because a lot of times they're by themselves when they're out there treeing. So I've heard all kinds of bad stories about coyotes and what their impacts have been. So how do you find places to hunt, or do people find you? I mean, how does that work?
At the beginning, it was me finding places. I've never been afraid to reach out to people. I've never been afraid to pull down a 2-mile long driveway and knock on somebody's door, regardless if there was a sign that said I would turn around if I was you. I've seen many people have those signs, and I keep driving right past them just to knock on that door. Mm-hmm. And that's what it took. Now, as years have progressed, me and some guys I know that are pretty big into it, they actually run a TV show, coyote hunting. You can find them on YouTube, Southern Extreme TV. They're out of Rufferton area, but we were talking the other day. It's way harder now to find places to coyote hunt, especially if you're not wanting to step on people's toes. So I was easily at the time, like I said, when I was being the only one around the area that I knew of that was doing it. I didn't know anybody else, and it was nothing for me to pick up 30 new spots in a weekend and just drive around literally on a Friday and Saturday and a Sunday and door knock and pick up 30 farms to coyote hunt. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was very, very, very easy. And now as it's progressed, the last 5 years, equipment's become 10 times more affordable for the common person. Mm-hmm. A lot of places now offer financing on equipment, where when I started doing it, we were running around with Stanley spotlights from Walmart with a red cap lens on the end, and that's how we were calling coyotes. Wow. We were just shining them and killing them, and now it's a lot harder without stepping on people's toes now to find places to hunt. If that makes sense. It's just
I got you.
A lot of people's got into it.
Okay. Well, for those that may not know how people coyote hunt, could you take us through just a typical hunt, what it's like, daytime, nighttime, what kind of, you mentioned equipment. Could you tell us like what you need when you go, or what people use when they go coyote hunting? And even if you're comfortable sharing, I'm not asking for your particular equipment, but in generally speaking, what could somebody expect to pay for some of this equipment?
Well, my general night, like I'm loading stuff up now. We'll go out tonight and hunt probably 10 farms or so. I always try and pull up my own eggs, and every farm that I've got has a wind indicator on it. If you're not watching your wind, you're not killing coyotes. Period. You can I've tricked mature bucks and killed mature bucks in a bad wind. You won't trick a coyote, kill a coyote in a bad wind. It just won't happen. They always come in downwind. I've never killed a dog that didn't. If I feel like the coyote's going to be on the backside of a cow pasture or in the backside of a cutover, in that cutover, I want to make sure my wind stays in my face the entire walk to my set. I never want to give the coyote, if I can help it. Now that coyote, a lot of the times they'll swing those cutovers and it still end up downwind. That's why it always helps to have another guy with you, or maybe one other guy. Three's that's a plenty. I typically keep it to 2 to 3, no more than that. You're putting more scent in there, a lot more movement, a lot more things can go wrong when it comes to coyote hunting. When you've got that many people. So always, like I said, mainly paying attention to your wind. That's the biggest part of being successful in killing coyotes. As far as setup, that depends on how much a person wants to pay to play. To me, I started out, like I said, with a Stanley Spotlight and a 6.5 Creedmoor Ruger American. So I didn't have, but in a nighttime, or at the beginning, it was just a daytime rifle scope that we'd shine the spotlight. And when we got eyes to illuminate, you got to stay on the coyote or the varmint, whichever, whatever it is, you got to keep it in its eyes and then shoot. If you scan too fast using red lights and you go past their eyes, they're typically gone by the time you get back to them. But then we moved into night vision. You can get night vision is very affordable. You can get most night vision scopes for around $400, and they're pretty good, especially if you upgrade to IR lights instead of the ones that come with them. You can upgrade to IR lights for another $260. So then you're looking, you're right around that. You're looking at probably $800 ballpark to really get into it as far as that goes. And then your calls, you've got everything. You've got calls all the way down to $150 up to now they've got the newest Spots Pro X360 out. It's like $1,600. And I mean, the sky's the limit when it comes to this. It's just about what a person wants to spend. Me personally, I've got 3 setups. I run a Christian Arms, NPR 6mm Creedmoor. Then I've got a 243 I had built. And then I've also I just got a 6 arc, and actually I've got 4 setups. And then I've got another 6mm Creedmoor that's in my safe. I kind of play the same. I've learned the calibers, so to speak, what I like. But I done a budget sheet the other day as to what I've got in my equipment, just in my rifle alone. I've got right at $9,000. So it's kind of, like I said, it's a person's how much drive they got, how much they invest in their equipment, what their budget is. You can be as low as $800 and as high as $20,000 if you wanted to with ease. But it's like I said, it just depends. I've upgraded. I always upgrade. I actually just upgraded my scanner. I've got a handheld that goes around my neck. That way I'm not constantly crouched over my rifle. I typically upgrade every 1 or 2 years. Most of this equipment now is coming with 5-year warranties. So it's pretty good. If you ever have anything go wrong, within those 5 years, once I start getting close to that 5-year warranty, I'll sell it and then I'll upgrade. That way I'm still I continue to cover myself for a warranty. If that makes sense. I mean,
sure.
But yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit on it.
So when you hunt, you mentioned like cutover, so are you hunting across fields, or how far away are you from them?
If at all possible, I had a set last week, I believe it was. We'd set up where I typically had killed coyotes at, and we were every bit of 1,700 yards away from them. And we decided to make the move I sent one guy out to go grab the call, and me and the other guy was picking up guns and heading down the side of the hill to swing around on these coyotes. It just depends. It depends on the lay of the land, knowing the land. That's why every property I look at during the daytime, I get a general idea where I think these coyotes would hold up, what would keep them there. It's like cutovers, for instance. Coyotes are going to hold up in cutovers because they got mice, rabbits, birds. It's thick cover. They love thick cover. They're like a hog. They like to be in the thickets, in the swamps. especially in Georgia. We find a lot of our coyotes down in Georgia where we hunt in the swampy areas, and just that thick stuff that you're not going to walk through, so to speak. You're not. You're going. I mean, if you are, you're going to be on your hands and knees crawling through it. But it just depends. There's some places I got that I'll set up. Some of my best farms I got are 10-acre fields. That just depends on the farm, and I've called them from plenty of other farms. I've had them answer from half a mile away, and that was the only coyotes that answered, and it take them 10 minutes to get there. So it just depends on how bad the coyote wants to come, so to speak.
Well, how long is a typical shot?
The longest around this part of North Carolina, 200 and in. Okay. Typically, that's a typical shot. Depending on how good of places you got, or how big of farms you manage. I've shot quite a few well over the 400-yard mark, which is not easy. I spend a lot of time behind my rifle and a lot of time shooting down range, shooting long distance. But most of the time, typically around this part of North Carolina, you're talking 200 and in. You start getting down towards those farther south or down towards the coast, you're talking properties that are, one field might be 1,500 acres. I've got some that are 1.9 miles to the closest tree line down in Georgia. And I'm not driving my truck. I'm not driving my truck halfway to the closest tree line. I'm not running the chance of there being cows out in the field, or we're typically parking, and you're gonna put some leg work in. I just don't believe in the driving in on coyotes and being successful. I mean, you can do it. I've seen it done, but I don't run that risk personally.
So is your gear is it mounted on something like a tripod or some kind of stand?
It is. Yep, I run a tripod. I've got a two vets with a Lafrodo LH55 ball head. I think I've got right at like $950 in the tripod and the ball head, which I say it's an overkill, because there is tripods out there now that are very more affordable than that. It's just something that once I continue to upgrade and move up, I know what I like. You know what I mean? But yeah, it mounts on the tripod. It swivels. I loosen one knob, and I can swivel 360 degrees.
Well, if money were no object, and you could build like your perfect setup, like what all would you want?
Money wasn't an object. Yeah. I would probably build a DNA firearm systems 22 Creedmoor. And the reason I say that, I've owned one of their rifles before in an AR-10 platform, and it was phenomenal. It was less than quarter-inch groups at 200 yards. It was an amazing rifle. They are a little bit pricey. You're talking $3,500 plus. That's just one of those things. And it would probably be a 22 Creed if ammo was more available for that round. There's ammo out there now, but most guys are reloading for that caliber. Gotcha. But that would probably be my go-to.
What time of night do you normally hunt?
We typically start at about 9. Sometimes this time of the year we'll start a little bit earlier. Sometimes, depending on if we're competition hunting or just if we're leisure hunting. Typically 9:30 we're leaving the house and getting to the first spot. Just depends on where I go.
And how long
depends on how far I go.
How long does a typical hunt last? You roll up to farm number 1 and you go out. I know it probably takes you a little bit to get your stuff set up and everybody where they're supposed to be, and you have to try to call them in. How long before you are like, yeah, this spot's no good, we're going to go to another spot? I mean, how long does a typical hunt last?
A typical hunt, 30 minutes, and I'm out of there. If I don't get a response, and they're not doing nothing In 30 minutes, I'm gone. I'm going to the next spot because that tells me either the coyotes just they may be there and they may just not be wanting to play tonight. They just might be quiet. And if I'm competition hunting, 12 minutes, 12 to 15 minutes max. I think is what we run for. There may have been a couple stands down in Georgia the other weekend when we hunted the Carolina Classic that I pushed that 18 to 22 minute mark, mainly because when you're competition hunting, you want to cover the idea is to cover as much dirt as you can, as fast as you can, and kill as quick as you can. When we're just leisure hunting, I want to put if I put a dog on the if I put one dog on the truck and I hunt 4 or 5 spots that night, I'm happy. You know, the idea is to kill a coyote for somebody that's through the time of the night that we're hunting.
We've done this for a while. Tell us about a favorite memory you have of hunting. You know, just a very memorable hunt for you.
Ooh, a very memorable hunt. Well, that's so I used to hunt. I hunted an old golf course. I got permission from the property manager to hunt an old golf course that they had shut down. And it's actually in Gaston County is where it's at the time. This has been 8 years ago. And we'd been there maybe 15 minutes, 20 tops. We'd already had 2 coyotes down, was working a third one. And we finally called it. And we was like, let's go get these 2 dogs, get them drove back up to the truck. Let's go hit it. Let's go hit another spot. And we're walking back up the golf course road. You know, the paved road that goes around the golf course. We're walking back up to go to the parking area, and we thought that we had heard a car door slam. Is what we thought. We were still well over 800 yards from the truck. And we was walking back up. We get back up. We probably closed into about 200 yards, and we'd seen headlights turn off. And about this time, we started hearing a woman screaming. And there was like 3 or 4 men, I believe it was. And they was screaming back at her saying, let's just kill her too. Well, long story short, we get up there, we're watching through the handheld. We don't know what to do. We don't know whether to pick these dudes off or what. So instead of picking them off, we decided not to do that. And called 911. And in the process of being on the phone with 911, these guys spun out of there. They had no clue that we were there. None whatsoever. And the guy I was hunting with at the time, he's on the phone with 911. And he turns his headlight on as the truck leaves, and we didn't realize it at the time, but he shined his headlight up towards where that truck was at, and there was a woman beat all to death right there in the brush, and his headlights had hit her, or his headlamp had hit her, and she started screaming. She seen us with rifles and suppressors, and she didn't, she was already in enough distress as was, and we get up there to her, and we tried for 10 minutes to get her to calm down. She just kept screaming. We couldn't understand her because she'd been beaten so bad. And long story short, it ended up turning into a very long night with about 20 police officers on the scene, 3 search dogs. It was pretty bad. And what had happened was that what we had thought was the car door that shut was actually a sawed-off shotgun. They killed her boyfriend and threw him out in the brush and beat her half to death. And that was a night that I'd never forget. that was a crazy night of coyote hunting.
Josh, I got to tell you, I've heard a lot of crazy stories. I think you just set the bar so high. I don't know that anybody could ever beat that story. It's been a crazy story while out hunting. I cannot imagine. Wow.
Yeah, it was absolutely one that I never forget. And what's even crazier is that wasn't even we try and let our places sit once we hunt it, whether we kill coyotes or we don't kill coyotes. We try and at least let them sit sometimes about 3 weeks to a month. because I hunt. I don't even know, probably 200 days out of 365 if I was to add it all up. I mean, we hunt a bunch. And, there at the time I did anyway. Now I'm probably down to about the 120, 130, 150 mark, 365 days. But it wasn't even 3 weeks later we decided to go back and hit a farm that we didn't get to hunt. Some farms we didn't get to hunt because of that happening that night. And we were going down the same road we were getting ready to go past this golf course that I was hunting to go to another farm right up the road that I had. And we noticed 4 cars pulled off in the ditch to the right and didn't think nothing of it. At the time, it was during the summertime, the corn and stuff was growed up. And about that time, we heard tick-ting, tick-ting, tick-ting. I was like, man, what was that? And then we realized, hey, the windshield's cracked. My buddy, he says, I know what that was. And he spins the car around, and we pull in behind these other cars. Well, apparently there was 2 teenagers throwing rocks at cars as they went by. I said, dude, we can't. I said, we got to stay out of this area for a while. I said, this is bad luck. Not even 3 weeks later, we're getting rocks thrown at us. And these boys dunked down in the corn because they didn't think anybody would see them, And we're out here with thermals, and we found them with no problem with the thermals in the corn or just walking around. And we literally followed their trail where they crawled out of the corn and run back to their house, and had Gaston County PD meet them at their doorstep. But those 2 right there. That's probably the most memorable things that I've had happen to me while coyote hunting.
Wow. You do not want to be on like a first name basis with the local police department. Like that, Josh. I wouldn't think so. Maybe so. I don't know. Let me ask you about this. So in our part of the country, there's always a big debate on, mountain lions. Do we have mountain lions in western North Carolina? Have you ever seen one while you've been out? Any big cats around here?
I want to tell you that there's not as many times that I've spent out at night and as much as I hunt, as much as I'm looking through thermals. But I will say I did have an instance, and I had my cousin in the truck with me. We were actually coyote hunting, and we were in Kaiser, North Carolina, coyote hunting, and we were going down Old Highway 10, and we had a big, and there was no mistaking it. It was not a house cat. There's no way. It was so big that I slammed the brakes on in the truck and locked it up. And he looked at me and I looked at him. He said, was that what I thought it was? And I said, dude, I ain't going to sit here and lie to you. I'm pretty sure that's what we thought it was. And that's the only instance I've ever had, the first experience I've ever had. With as many places as I hunt and go, I mean, that's the only thing that I can speak of. As far as that, I would say no. But
how about black bears? Are you seeing more bears around? Are you seeing any bears?
We've only ever had one occasion with a bear at nighttime, and that actually ended up being in Gaston County too.
Wow.
It was actually climbing a tree, and that's the only bear I've ever seen. Now I know that there's been several spotted in Lincoln County. Actually, we had 3 run across our right up above my neighborhood. We had 3 run across about probably 3 months back. We had a mama and 2 cubs run across the highway. But I think the bear that we're seeing are bear that is funneled in from that 30,000 acre, fire that took place on South Mountain.
Gotcha.
A couple years back, and I think it pushed a couple of them down this way.
With coyote hunting becoming more and more popular, I mean, you said when you started you didn't even know anybody really, and now it's getting pretty popular, and even becoming a little more challenging to find spots to hunt. Well, tell us a little bit about coyote. You mentioned competition hunting. So
Yeah.
are there clubs out there that hold events? You know, just like I go to beagle, events or coon hunting events, or there's bird dog events. So you're telling me there's coyote hunting events. So
Yes, sir.
how does
There is.
how
Yeah.
does that work?
There's the biggest one around, probably the biggest in the southeast that I know of, would probably be the Carolina Coyote Classic. That's one time a year. It's in February. Typically, it's pretty good payout. It's always a pretty good crowd. You typically have about 250 plus teams that enter into it. They've got different classes. The most, so they call that the Derby. Guys that kill the most coyotes, and then they've got the biggest coyote, and that's where your payout comes. And most of the time you've got guys that enter the fat dog over the Derby, just because your chances of killing, you never know your outcome, so to speak. You've got 2 days to kill as many coyotes as you can. You don't know what you're going to run into this year. Friday, everybody run in the rain for like 5 hours. So you never can predict any of that. Then when you enter the fat dog, anybody can kill the biggest coyote, so to speak. It goes off of weight. We've been fortunate enough to win it twice. This is my second year winning it, and it pays out pretty good. Definitely gives you your money back in gas, and then some.
Well, where do you hunt? Where do you hunt when you go to a hunt like that? Do you drive all the way back home, or do they have places for you to go?
So the check-in for the Carolina Coyote Classic is out of Albemarle, North Carolina, and the states that are allowed to hunt it is North Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, and South Carolina. And now there's talk of maybe next year bringing in some more states that's allowed to hunt it. But as long as you're hunting those 4 states for the Carolina Classic and within the legal laws and stuff, having permission on the ground that you're hunting, purchasing your license like you're supposed to, not just going out hunting ground. As long as you're within those, their guidelines, you're good. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit different depending on tournament wise, how the guys do the weigh in, how they do, if they do a kill block, if they do eye shine, limber test. So your idea is you're trying to cut out as much cheating that can take place as possible.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
So and the Carolina Coyote Classic, the only one that I know of personally is they do give a polygraph to the winning teams. And they're going to ask you those questions. Did you collect coyotes from another team? Did somebody else kill coyotes for you? Were you hunting on dirt that you had permission to be on? You wasn't trespassing? Those type of questions. Because it is a big event.
Josh, I got to tell you, I can't imagine
their time and effort.
I can't imagine going to one of these field trials with these beaglers and having them have to answer a lie detector after they came back from the field.
Yeah,
I wonder how many of them would win.
How
many would pass? So you enter this thing, and for you it would be out of Albemarle, North Carolina, kind of, I guess, central North Carolina, sort of, and so you hunt at home, and you take what you get there to be weighed.
That's correct.
You drive all the way there. Okay.
And we actually drove way further than that, because when I hunt tournaments, I go to Georgia, because I burn my dirt up around here. I've got land from where I live. I've got land in 7 surrounding counties, and I burn it up all year long killing coyotes. I'm not just a competition hunter where some of these guys, they only hunt during competition because they put up, they want to go kill 20 or 30 coyotes and take them to check in, where I hunt for the landowner. I don't hunt for the competition, so to speak. I do the competition because it's a good time to get out with your buddies and hunt for 2 days, and it's enjoyable. That's the only reason I hunt it. I'm more in it for the management side aspect.
I got you.
Where some guys are in it for, they hunt competitions. 3, 4, 5 competitions a year. They may hunt where I'm hunting.
Well, I have a couple questions about the competition. One is, how long does it last? Like, is it sundown to sun up? I mean, do you have an X number of hours that you can hunt? And then the other thing is, like, what's a typical entry fee for something like that? And what does the winning team win?
The typical hunt. So the past couple years they've switched it. It used to be depending on. So it also depends on the. It also depends on the tournament and what they allow, who it is, whoever's putting it on. The Carolina Classic, so to speak, it started at 7 a.m. I believe that Friday morning, and then you had to be at check-in by noon on Sunday. Anything past that, they shut the gates and you can't get in, so your dogs are disqualified. Mm-hmm. As far as that goes, that just depends on which competition you hunt. Typical buy-in for most is anywhere between $100 and $250. And then you split that if you've got 3 or 4 team members, you're not really paying that much to enter into it.
And what's the payout?
The payout, just the Classic, I believe, typically for Derby side, paid out $4,000 this year, and then the Fat Dog, which is what we enter in, it paid out. I think we got $900 in cash between winning the Fat Dog and our payout for the bounty. Mm-hmm. They call it a bounty. So basically everybody gets some money back for how many coyotes are brought in. Mm-hmm. They kind of split it up. So every coyote that's brought in, every team's going to get some money. And I think that kind of goes off of how many coyotes you bring in. So like we got like $140 just for the bounty. And then the rest, the 740 or whatever, was for winning the Fat Dog. And then on top of that, we got a rifle. We won a brand new rifle.
Oh, wow.
From Paul's Pawn and Gun out of Albemarle. We won a like a $500 watch from John McPherson's dad's jewelry store. Wow. We won a brand new Foxborough X24, which is a $600 call. I don't even know, probably $200+ worth of T-shirts and hats. Mm-hmm. Pocket drags, ARCA rails from DNA Firearm Systems, $1,000 off a custom built rifle from DNA, certificate.
Wow, that's
and then belt buckles, which is what we wanted to win anyway. And then of course we also had Silencer Central was gracious enough to give all the winning teams, anybody that placed, free suppressors. So the only thing they give us a free suppressor, and the only thing we had to do was pay for the tax stamp. Wow. So I actually just finished up my paperwork today, and my suppressor hopefully should be here within the next 3 weeks.
That is one heck of a prize package.
It is.
That's terrific. Well, as you've been around, you mentioned going to Georgia. I'm assuming you probably hunted all over the place. What's your favorite place to hunt?
My favorite place is definitely Georgia. I love Georgia. I've built some great connections down there. The land is unbelievable. It's nothing to find a tract of land down there that's 400+ acres. Most of my stuff is at least 400 to 8,000 acres. It's been an experience. I've had a lot of people that's helped me out to be able to get where I'm at down there. Landowners, word of mouth. You go in and hunt 2 nights and shoot at 15 or 20 coyotes, and it don't take long for people to start helping you out. Be like, okay, yeah, he can definitely kill our coyotes. Mm-hmm. Word of mouth goes a long way, but I would say definitely Georgia. I'm working on hopefully trying to figure it out. I have a connection of a farmer that lives around here that's got land in Missouri, Iowa, and Nebraska, and I'd love to be. That's my go-to. That's where I'd love to be hunting. Only problem is they have night seasons where around here in the South, we don't have a season on coyotes, We're 365 day or night. It doesn't matter when you hunt them.
If you had a coyote hunting related problem or challenge and you only had one phone call you could make to ask somebody for some help or advice, who's that one person going to be for you?
That's a challenging question.
Yeah, and I know earlier you said when you got started, I think it was Robert Maxwell was kind of long term friend and guy that y'all really got started with. But
it would probably be between Robert and another guy I know that lives in Salisbury, North Carolina, Cody, live and good. He got into it. I guess he's been into it for quite a few years now, 3 or 4 years, and he's really put in a lot of time and a lot of effort on reading, and kind of like I did. That's what I do a lot of reading on coyotes and a lot of studies. I try and just try and read on them. Mm-hmm. He's done a lot of the same thing in his first year, just solo hunting by himself. Like before he even knew me, he killed 100 coyotes in his first year, and that's I don't know. I don't care what anybody says. That's impressive. Your first year coyote hunting, taking the time to learn them, to be able to get that good at it. Wow. And
I don't know. That sounds like
that'd be tough. It'd probably be Robert and Cody, one of them.
That sounds very impressive to take 100, especially in your rookie year.
Yeah, that's a challenge. It's not so easy. That's a lot of time spent in the field and a lot of times of learning and overcoming obstacles. That's something that a lot of people can't do. They get discouraged and give up on it.
In a day and age when there's so much bad information out there about hunters, and there's certainly a lot of groups that would like to see hunting eliminated, period. If you could tell just the public, maybe folks that don't know as much about hunting, anything about coyote hunting, if you just had a few minutes with them, what would you tell them?
I'd let them know that, management is key. I tell everybody, and I'm never going to lie to a landowner. I never have. I have a lot of landowners tell me, kill them all. It's not possible. If you have a person come up to you and tell you, yeah, I'm going to wipe them out for you, I'm going to kill them all for you, it's not possible. When you got coyotes, you got coyotes. They may be there one night, they may not be there the next, but I promise you that unless a major habitat change takes place, you're going to always have coyotes. Manage them is the biggest thing, and knowing how to manage them will be the number one thing. If you think you're going to go in there and kill all of them or wipe them out, it's not going to be the case. And you're not going to be able to go in there and call to them all the time and kill a coyote. Let places see it and leave them alone helps the landowner more than hurting them. What hurts them is people going in there and always constantly trying to call to them and always hitting those same farms over and over and over. I would also let them know that more predator hunters on the same piece of dirt is not the better option. People think that they can let 2 or 3, 4 guys come in there and coyote hunt, that'll get rid of them quicker. That's false information. I don't know who spread that. I don't know where that's come from. That's one of the biggest things I hear. Well, yeah, I've got somebody that coyote hunts, but you can coyote hunt too. And I just tell them, if somebody else is coyote hunting, let them have at it. The more the better is not the case when it comes to coyotes. They're one of the smartest animals. They get educated very, very quickly. When you call them in, you better get them killed. If not, you just gotta educate a coyote. And that's not always going to be the case. You can't get all of them killed. If you call in 3 or 4 coyotes and you're hunting solo, I've done it several times. I've killed all 4 that I've called in, or 3 that I've called in, or a double that I've called in. I've killed both, But most of the time, you call in 4 or 5 coyotes, you're not going to get them all killed. So those coyotes you didn't get killed, guess what? They just learned a little bit else. They gained a little bit more knowledge. And every time that happens, they gain a little bit more knowledge. I've got places that I know that I've hunted for 8+ years, 10 years, and I I can tell that somebody else is either on adjoining property or a landowner has let somebody else come in there and call them, thinking it wasn't going to hurt nothing. Because I can go in there any given time and get coyotes to light up, and they never break the timber. So I know for a fact, because every time I hunt it, I've either killed what I've called in, and I've made sure my wind was correct, and my call selection was on par. I don't just go in and blare a rabbit sound for 15 minutes on 30 and think that that's what kills coyotes. And that's where a lot of people are misinformed. They think killing coyotes is not on distress for me. I've at least 87% of my coyotes on vocals, kind of learning how to communicate back and forth with them, feeling what their, how their barks are, telling if they seem like they're aggravated or if they're submissive coyotes or if they're aggressive coyotes, just kind of feeling off of how they respond back to me is kind of how I play it. But yeah, I would tell them, more is not better when it comes to killing coyotes if they actually want them handled properly and actually maintained.
Do you have any advice for someone getting into coyote hunting or someone interested in getting started in coyote hunting? What kind of advice would you give somebody?
Not to overthink it. It's a challenge. Stay persistent. Try and learn from your mistakes, especially once you miss or have a coyote lead you and he's coming in hard and then he turns and bolts out there at 42 mile an hour. That's because he probably got your wind or you let him get inside of that scent cone. If I feel like the wind's starting to drift, try and kill that coyote before he gets here. If you don't have time to move, there's been many a times I'm telling the guy next to me, run out there and grab that call. I'm gonna pick the guns up and we're gonna shift over here to this tree line because that guy just responded, and I know he's gonna get our wind if we don't get moved ASAP. Just stay persistent. You're not always gonna kill. There's gonna be a lot of times that you get discouraged. You're gonna go hunt 10, 15 spots and you never kill the first coyote. Be a lot of nights that you spend that you don't get sleep. That you's like, man, I shouldn't have stayed out till 3 a.m. and come home empty-handed. If you give up, you're never going to learn. You're never going to get better. Just stay with it. It can be challenging. And also try and be courteous. If a landowner tells you that they got somebody that hunts or, well, he used to hunt, but I don't hear from him no more. Well, that's probably because you told him that there was no need in contact and you just go hunt whenever. I get a lot of those, and I still try and contact all my landowners and say, hey, listen, I'm going to be out tonight, to try and let them know, hey, I'm still hunting. It's become a cutthroat game, and I try not to be part of that problem. I've had a lot of people that's moved in on me within the last 5 years that stuff's become more affordable. People hunting dirt that I've been hunting for years and managing coyotes on, and now I can't even get a coyote killed there, and that's tough. Landowner wants them gone or wanted them gone, and now they're letting somebody else on them that, just because they knocked on your door and said, hey, I kill coyotes, and he says, well, yeah, you can hunt, but I got another guy that hunts too. It's hard. It's, you sometimes just got to say, no, if you got somebody, that's fine. I ain't going to mess them up. But a lot of people I'm learning don't have that sportsmanship anymore. They'd much rather mess it up for everybody, and nobody's killing coyotes.
That brings me to kind of another question, and you sort of already answered part of it, I think. I was going to ask you what's going to be maybe some of the biggest challenges for future hunters, and it sounds like maybe even just working together, but also the landowners. Just so many of them around here. Just the folks I know, they're so aggravated with these coyotes and the damage they've done to their livestock. They'd bring in 15, 20 groups of hunters if they thought that's the answer is.
They would. Yep, you're exactly right.
So what are some of those big challenges?
It hurts them even more. It really does. It really, really, really hurts them even more because them coyotes are going to continue to wreck havoc on their livestock and stuff, because now you've got 4 and 5 different guys out there different nights of the week or different weekends that maybe I don't even know, maybe I don't know that they're letting somebody else hunt, but it don't take me long to pick up on that. Say, yeah, somebody else has been in here coyote hunting. If I can consistently go, if I was consistently going and killing coyotes and letting my places rest like they should be, I'm always playing my win. And every time that happened, I'm killing a coyote. Or the coyotes are there that night. I've got a lot of places that consistently hold coyotes all year long. I've got a 900-acre piece of property not far from my house. It's they probably got 200 head of cattle, and I guarantee I can go there and either A, get coyotes to light up, and if I can get everything right, I can kill a coyote, or B, they're not going to respond. And but most of the time that place holds coyotes. At least 85% of the year it's got coyotes on it. Not every place has got them.
Josh, do people pay you to come do this, or do you just do it?
I have been offered money at least probably 15 to 20 times. I actually had a man, the first night I hunted his place, he was getting sheep killed. He lost 10 sheep, and I went in there and killed a quad solo by myself in one night. And next night I went out there, I killed a single solo, and that was within 2 weeks' time, because I trusted the man. I knew, he said, listen, I don't have anybody else's coyote hunting. If that happens, and I know that those coyotes are there, they had a den nearby. I viewed the property at the end of the day. It's surrounded by a 300-acre cutover. I knew that the coyotes were there. So I went in there and I killed 8 coyotes within the first month, and I never let that place rest like I typically would. I'd let a place, rest a month, 3 weeks or so before I go back into it. But with the coyotes being there like that and him losing that amount of sheep, but he come out and he tried to hand me $500, and I was like, dude, I don't need your money. I've got another lady I hunt for, same thing. Every time I kill a coyote, she says, leave it on the hanging on the fence out here. She said, I'll get you some money. She's wanting to pay me $200 a coyote. And I'm like, I'm not taking your money. But
well, I'll tell you, Josh, with how expensive losing a young steer or a young heifer or your baby sheeps or goats or whatever, you lose one of those, it's a financial hit for a lot of these folks too. But I wanted to ask you, where do you see yourself in 5-10 years? You think this is something you're going to keep doing?
It just depends on how much more it continues to grow. If I come up with a list the other week, and I come up with 47 names within 30 minutes of me that I know of that has either got into coyote hunting or just does it. It's kind of a fun thing to do, and that's where most of the people fall. They just they go and do it 10, 15, 20 times a year, and they may kill 10 coyotes a year, 15, 20 coyotes a year, where we're killing 130 plus coyotes a year. It depends on how more it keeps growing, how many more people keep being unsportsmanlike and stepping on dirt, making it harder for coyotes to be killed. I would love to see myself. I'd love to see myself continuing to do it, and I hope I am. My son's 11 years old, and he's wanting to do it. So I'm setting him up his first predator hunting rifle, and it just depends. But yeah, I see myself still continuing to push through and get through the adversity and continue to try and grow and get better. Anymore, it's just acquiring land. I got you. You've got to acquire the land, continue to acquire land so you can continue to let your farms rest so you can be more successful. If you can't do that, land acquisition is probably the number one thing when it comes to killing coyotes.
I hear that.
And if you can't do that, you're not going to kill many.
Yeah, I hear that with all kinds of different types of hunting. It's all about access to good land. So let me ask you this. If somebody's out there listening and they're interested in getting you to come help them with their coyotes. How do they find you? What's a good way for them to find you?
You can find me on social media, Joshua Dale Robinson. I believe you've got to put in my full name to be able to find me. I used to have business cards, and it started getting expensive, business card wise. I mean, it's crazy. I bet I've handed out over 3,000 business cards in the years that I've been coyote hunting. Most of the time, people contact me through social media. I get a lot of people that put my name out there, say, hey, you know, this guy, he knows what he's doing, or get my phone number out.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
And we go all over. I mean, if the land is there, if it's a good chunk of land, especially, or if you say, hey, I've got 300 acres and I can get you 10 more farms, great. I'll load up and I'll come tonight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like I said, those 30-minute sets, 40 minutes, and there's some that I push into an hour. I killed a coyote not too long ago that we killed that coyote. I finally got her to break, and she was smart, very smart. And I finally got her to break at like the 52-minute mark, and I shot her at like 275. But the land would have to be the biggest thing, you know. That just depends on how far I'll go.
Okay.
But I go all over South Carolina, Georgia, and North Carolina.
Very good. Josh, is there anything that I didn't ask you about that I should have, or is there anything else you want to talk about that we didn't cover, or anything you want to promote?
No. Other than, you know, if anybody is really interested in getting into it, I work for a thermal dealer, help sell scopes. Midwest Thermal Optics Plus is where I buy all my gear through. We'd love to earn your business and help you get set up.
Well, very good. Well, Josh, thank you again for coming on. This has been fascinating. I learned so much, and I know this is going to be super interesting to all the listeners. So thank you again for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for listening to Buff in the Rough. And remember to like and subscribe if you want to be notified when we have new content available. And please send comments and suggestions to buffintherough@gmail.com.